Damn! Is what I said when I saw the new Kendrick Lamar album, Damn, came out. You probably clicked this video because you were curious what I thought on my first impression. Well, lucky for you, I'm gonna tell you. Finally, the follow-up to Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp A Butterfly is out. Now, I know he had Untitled Unmastered, which was a terrific album that came out. However, that was not a full LP in Kendrick's catalog, and it was a bridge between To Pimp A Butterfly and Damn. Now, a lot of people have been like, what's with the cover of Damn? It looks like a Time magazine cover. What's with the album title? Seems like a step down in creativity, but I will tell you this much. The album is nothing short of very creative. I don't know what I can say about Kendrick that hasn't already been said by others and by me in previous videos. Obviously, he is one of the greatest rappers alive, and let's just jump into the album. I'm gonna tell you what I thought. Blood, the intro track, is a short, soulful intro that goes into a story. I've learned that I really like hip-hop albums that start with this soulful intro. They usually break into something totally different afterwards. I think it's a nice way to begin an album. He ends this track with a pretty ballsy power move where he actually quotes Geraldo Rivera when he's talking about how All Right, the Kendrick Lamar song from To Pimp A Butterfly, has damaged black culture, which is ridiculous because the song All Right is actually about the opposite of what he's saying it is. So if you're gonna criticize a song that's powerful in lyrics and in spirit, I think that you should probably do your research first. But I like that he sampled it. It's really owning the moment and being like, you're wrong. DNA comes in hard from the start. It is aggressive, it is catchy, and it really serves to show that all of the rappers need to step their game up. It proves that King Kendrick, his nickname, is not just a nickname that's arbitrary. He has earned that. He is incredible, and I think this song is a perfect demonstration if you wanted to show off just what Kendrick can do. Right after that, he hits you with Ya, which it slows it down. And, you know, you're really amped up after DNA, and then all of a sudden he brings it down. His flow is almost like molasses. He's trying so hard to get the words out, but it's so painful almost. It's a really chilled out song, but I was ready for something more at that point. I thought it was kind of a weird contrast, but it was still a good song. Element has one of my favorite beats on the album, and I don't know why, I can't describe it on first listen, but I think that it reminds me of a Kanye song. I think it's heavily influenced by Kanye's production. You tell me in the comments. There are only 3 features on this album, and one of which is Rihanna. Now, I think Rihanna is a great artist by herself. I do think that her features on albums can be very hit or miss. Luckily, on this album, it was a hit. I think this is a very solid track. Nothing overly memorable, but I think this is definitely worthy of the rest of the album around it. When Humble comes on, I mean, everyone's been listening to this song pretty much non-stop since he dropped the single a week or 2 ago. But I think this is a great song for this part of the album. It kind of splits the album in 2. And I think this is going to be on heavy rotation moving forward. If I just decide to listen to 1 or 2 tracks from the album, Humble will definitely be there. I don't really have a lot of concrete things to say about Lust either. It's the second longest track on the album, over 5 minutes long. But what I like about it is that it's incredibly catchy, and it keeps you interested the whole time. Even though it's lengthy, something about it keeps pulling you in. I always felt like Kendrick was like pulling a rope and I was just like following it like a zombie. It was a really cool track. And then let's talk about Love featuring Zakari. Now, when I saw there was a feature called Zakari, I didn't know who that was, never heard of him, never heard his music. And I will say that this is by far not just my favorite song on the album, this is probably one of my favorite songs of the whole year. Zakari's voice is butter. It's amazing. It's almost like The Weeknd's voice if The Weeknd wasn't predictable and repetitive. I think Zakari has a huge career ahead of him, and if this song is any indication of what he has coming, I cannot wait for his solo album, and I hope that more people feature him, because once you hear this song, you're going to understand why it's so magical. I was actually genuinely upset when it ended. I almost stopped the listen to go back and listen to the track again. I was so excited by it. XXX features the 3rd and final feature on the album, a little band you may have heard of called U2. That's easily the weirdest feature of any hip-hop album I've ever heard, just from seeing it on the track list. In execution, it worked really well. This song was the first song where I actually distinctively noticed there was a trap beat, and I think you guys know my opinion on trap beats. I think that they're a little overused, and unless they're done creatively, they fall flat for me, especially when they're used a lot on an album. I don't want to really name names, like, you know, More Life. But this had it blended so well into the beat. This is just proof of the champion production team on Kendrick's album. So I love the trap beat on this. I think it integrated really well into the song. And then U2's feature, I almost didn't even realize it was Bono. I think if you didn't know ahead of time, you wouldn't have even known. You just think it was a good singer singing a refrain. It was a solid feature. I don't know why he chose U2. I'm actually curious to read an interview. If you guys know the backstory behind that, I would love to know that. So leave me a comment, because That's a really weird choice, but it worked. The longest track in the album is almost 7 minutes long. It's called Fear. It's a really great storytelling track, and what I love about it is it feels like a throwback to classic Nas, like Illmatic era Nas. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but if you listen to the track and you feel the same way, let me know. And then the song God put kind of a bad taste in my mouth for the first real time on the album. It reminded me of a Young Thug song, but obviously because it's Kendrick, it was way better executed. But there was just something about it that it had that almost islandy feel to it at times, and it was just a little like, I don't know. I didn't like this song that much. I would probably skip it more times than I wouldn't, but maybe it'll grow on me. And then Duckworth is an excellent closing track. The beat is out of this world, and the vocals in the beat occasionally sound like dirty projectors, like when the girls were in the band. I thought this was a really solid, clean way to end the album, and wrapped it up really nicely. This album doesn't have the bangers of Good Kid, Mad City, and it doesn't have the stark political message of To Pimp A Butterfly. I actually wouldn't even say it's as good as either of those two albums. It's definitely backloaded. I think that the second half is much stronger than the first half. What it comes down to, though, is that any new Kendrick material is a blessing, because like I said in the beginning of the video, he is an expert MC, an incredible artist, and everything he has done from Section 80 to now has really just had a lasting effect on me as a hip-hop fan, and I've enjoyed them front to back. This album is no different. I don't know if maybe Kendrick's impressiveness is just starting to wear off a little bit because he's been around in the mainstream for so long that we've heard so much material, but it just falls shy of his other albums before this, the last two in particular. That doesn't make it a bad album. In fact, it's a great album. And by this, I mean To Pimp A Butterfly and Good Kid, Mad City, not Untitled Unmastered, which, like I said, that was a great album, but this has so much more production and it's so much more interesting to listen to. Overall, I would definitely revisit Damn before I revisited Untitled Unmastered. But please remember, this is a first impression, and this is a dense, almost hour-long album that I'm going to dive into a lot over the next week. And I think this has a very strong potential to grow on me and be as good as his previous 3-4 records. So I love this album, and I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 out of the gate. And I'm really curious to hear what you think. So if you heard Damn, I want you to leave a comment and let me know what your thoughts are, what your favorite tracks are. If you love the track with Sakari as much as I did, I hope it's not Zachary, whatever. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, please subscribe, and we'll see you soon with more videos.